Hello, Chelsea fans. Welcome back to the Blues Talk Zone, and remember to subscribe, then enjoy your news. Let's dive in. The summer transfer window had been filled with suspense, anticipation, and countless rumors. But Chelsea Football Club once again became the centerpiece of European headlines. The London side, known for its ambition and fearless ventures in the market, had set its sights on two of the brightest young prospects in world football: Alejandro Garnacho of Manchester United and Xavi Simons of Paris Saint-Germain. The pursuit of these talents wasn't just a statement of intent, but a declaration that Chelsea was building something special for both the present and the future. Alejandro Garnacho had rapidly grown into one of the most exciting attackers in the Premier League. With his blistering pace, fearless dribbling, and eye for spectacular goals, he had captured the imagination of Manchester United fans and football lovers across the globe. Yet behind the scenes, tensions about his role and long-term vision at Old Trafford left the door ajar for other suitors. Chelsea, ever alert to opportunities, moved swiftly. They saw in Garnacho not just a winger, but a generational talent who could bring unpredictability and flair to Stamford Bridge. His ability to light up a match with individual brilliance fit perfectly into the club's ambition to restore its attacking dominance. Meanwhile, Xavi Simons represented a different type of acquisition, one rooted in intelligence, vision, and adaptability. Having developed through Barcelona's famed La Masia Academy before joining PSG, and later proving his maturity on loan at PSV, Simons had established himself as one of Europe's most complete young midfielders. His passing range, creativity, and work ethic earned admiration from scouts and analysts alike. For Chelsea, he was more than just a midfield signing. He was the kind of orchestrator who could link defense and attack with seamless control. The club saw him as the heartbeat of a new generation, a midfielder who could define games for years to come. The negotiations were complex and filled with intrigue. Manchester United resisted Chelsea's approaches for Garnacho, knowing the Argentine teenager was adored by their supporters. Yet the allure of a fresh project, coupled with the promise of a pivotal role in London, eventually swayed Garnacho. PSG, on the other hand, were reluctant to lose Simons after watching him flourish in the Netherlands. But Chelsea's persistence and the player's own desire to test himself in the Premier League made the move possible. It was a double coup that few clubs could have pulled off. As the deals were finalized, Chelsea supporters erupted in celebration. Social media buzzed with excitement, with fans envisioning the devastating partnership between Garnacho's direct runs and Simons' incisive creativity. The signings were not just about talent. They were symbolic of Chelsea's long-term commitment to building a squad filled with energy, hunger, and the kind of raw brilliance that could turn games in an instant. Garnacho arrived in London with fire in his eyes, determined to prove himself and make Stamford Bridge his new stage. His youthful arrogance on the pitch, an attribute that made him both feared and admired, was embraced by the fans who craved boldness in attack. Simons, meanwhile, carried himself with calm confidence. His maturity belied his age, and from his very first training sessions, teammates were struck by his ability to dictate tempo and bring balance to the team. The media quickly branded them as the future spine of Chelsea's revival. Pundits debated whether Garnacho could replicate his fearless performances on a new stage, and if Simons could handle the physicality of English football. But within weeks of their debut, doubts began to fade. Garnacho announced himself with a dazzling solo goal, cutting inside from the left and curling the ball into the far corner, sending Stamford Bridge into a frenzy. Simons followed with a midfield masterclass, controlling possession with grace and providing assists that highlighted his creative genius. Together, they injected a fresh spirit into Chelsea. Garnacho's daring runs stretched defenses, while Simons' intelligent passes unlocked spaces that seemed impenetrable. The chemistry between them grew with each game, as though fate had brought their careers together at just the right moment. Beyond the technical brilliance, there was something symbolic about their arrival. Garnacho and Simons represented a new identity for Chelsea, an identity built on youth, energy, and vision. They weren't just players. They were a promise that the club was ready to challenge the very best again. not only through financial power, but through assembling a team capable of defining the next era of football. In the months that followed, their names became synonymous with Chelsea's resurgence. Opponents approached Stamford Bridge with caution, aware that one burst of pace from Garnacho or one genius pass from Simons could change the course of 90 minutes. For the fans, they were more than signings. They were the embodiment of hope, excitement, and the dream of returning to the pinnacle of European football.
Brilliant, Mike. Hey. Go, move, go. Go, stand still. 1, 2, 3. That was right. 4, 5. Bravo, that's it. Perfect. 1, 2, 3. Go, go.
The training ground at Cobham buzzed with energy as Chelsea intensified preparations for their upcoming clash with Crystal Palace. Under the sharp eye of Enzo Maresca, the Blues were drilling a clear tactical identity. Possession football with purpose, quick transitions, and relentless pressing. The session wasn't just about fitness. It was about precision, movement, and understanding the game plan to the smallest detail. The morning began with rondos, but not the usual casual passing circles. Maresca's version demanded speed, accuracy, and constant rotation. Estevão Willian, still only a teenager but brimming with confidence, showed flashes of his skill, slipping passes through impossibly tight angles and drawing applause from his teammates. Beside him, João Pedro worked on his link-up play, dropping deep to receive the ball before turning sharply to launch attacks. Maresca's voice carried across the pitch, not shouting, but instructing with clarity. He emphasized positional play, often pausing drills to adjust a player's body shape or movement. Liam Delap was one of the focal points in attack, his physical presence and clever runs giving Chelsea a target who could hold up the ball or burst in behind. Delap's finishing looked sharp. Low, driven shots into the corners that left the keepers scrambling. The wide areas were electric. Cole Palmer, operating in his usual hybrid role between midfield and attack, dictated the tempo. He dropped deep to collect the ball, then threaded through passes that sliced the defense open. On the opposite flank, Jamie Bino Gittins was direct and fearless, constantly challenging defenders with quick feet and acceleration. His combination play with Estevão hinted at a growing chemistry. Two young wingers with the potential to terrorize fullbacks. Maresca split the squad into two teams for a high-intensity positional game. The focus was clear. Retain the ball under pressure, find the third-man run, and switch play rapidly to exploit space. João Pedro thrived in this setup, his awareness allowing him to slip into gaps between the lines. When the ball reached the attacking third, Chelsea's movement was fluid. Delap pulling center-backs wide, Palmer ghosting into pockets, and Estevão or Gittins darting in from the flanks. Defensively, Maresca drilled the team on their pressing triggers. As soon as the ball entered Palace's half in simulation drills, the forwards pressed as a unit. Delap set the line of engagement. Palmer covered the passing lanes, and Estevão closed down from the blind side. The aim was simple. Win the ball back high and attack before the opposition could reset. Set-piece routines were next. With Palace known for their aerial strength, Maresca wanted defensive discipline. Corners were rehearsed repeatedly with precise marking assignments. When attacking, the delivery often targeted Delap's near-post runs or João Pedro's clever movement around the penalty spot. The young wingers were tasked with second ball recovery, ready to recycle possession if the initial chance didn't materialize. The final segment of training was a short-sighted game at full tempo. Palmer's composure under pressure stood out, as did Estevão's fearless dribbling. Bino Gittins capped the session with a brilliantly taken goal, cutting in from the left before curling the ball into the far corner, earning high fives all around. Maresca called the group together at the center circle, delivering a crisp summary of what he expected on match day. Control, patience, and ruthless execution. As the players jogged off the pitch, there was an unmistakable sense of readiness. This wasn't a squad merely preparing for another league game. It was a group absorbing a clear tactical blueprint, sharpening their weapons for battle. Against Crystal Palace, Maresca's Chelsea wouldn't just aim to win, they'd aim to dominate. Another news, another.